Can you confirm you will not allow any conduct like what is alleged to continue at the DOJ?
I'm not going to talk about anything that's alleged. What I will talk about with you, hold on, you asked me a question and I get to answer it. What you asked me, alleged conduct that's part of a pending whistleblower lawsuit that was filed on the eve prior to Emil Bove's hearing today.
I'm not asking about that
suspicious.
Case
Hold on, let me keep going.
Attorney
I would
General
run
Bondi,
through a wall
this
for
is my
Emil
time,
Bove
Mr. Chairman,
and
I
Todd
would like
Blanche.
to continue with my questions. I have very limited time.
Senator Patty Murray confronts Attorney General Bondi in a heated Senate hearing, sparking a fierce clash over justice, accountability, and troubling corruption allegations tied to the Trump administration. Bondi faces intense criticism for slashing life-saving grants, dismantling women's programs, and defending officials accused of breaching court orders. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more exclusive coverage from the halls of power.
But before I turn to my questions, I do want to raise my alarm about the troubling pattern of trampling basic rights. Detainees, including U.S. citizens, being shipped overseas without any due process. Elected officials are detained for conducting oversight, and a U.S. senator gets tackled to the ground for asking questions at a press conference. This is not the country I know or the values I believe in, and I hope that colleagues on both sides of the aisle will agree with that. Now, to the questions. Yesterday, and I know that Senator Van Hollen raised this issue, a former DOJ attorney filed a protected whistleblower complaint accusing Deputy AG Emil Bove and senior DOJ leadership of defying court orders, including through, quote, lack of candor, deliberate delay, and disinformation, unquote. The complaint also accuses this administration of firing the whistleblower for, quote, telling the truth to the court. These allegations are deeply concerning. Now, I know you said that you can't discuss the case, but can you confirm that you agree that this administration should follow court orders?
We will follow court orders, Senator. The entire administration will follow court orders. The problem arises in the district courts. All these district courts throughout the country are tying our hands. But here's how we will follow them when we get to the United Supreme Court.
I need to ask
we're winning.
A number of questions.
And so, yes, we're following the orders of the court.
Let me ask my questions. Can you confirm you will not allow any conduct like what is alleged to continue at the DOJ?
I'm not going to talk about anything that's alleged. What I will talk about with you, hold on, you asked me a question and I get to answer it. What you asked me, alleged conduct that's part of a pending whistleblower lawsuit that was filed on the eve prior to Emil Bove's hearing today.
I'm not asking about that
suspicious.
Case
hold on, let me keep going. I would run through a wall for Emil Bove and Todd Blanche.
Like to continue with my questions. I have very limited time. Thank you. I just want you to confirm for this you will not allow conduct like that at the DOJ. Yes or no?
I will always support and defend Emil Bove, and I will defend Todd Blanche. They are two of the finest people I know and two of the ethical people I know.
I was asking about the conduct. Let me keep going here. Now, in April, DOJ abruptly terminated over 300 public safety grants that had already gone through a very rigorous and fair and apolitical application process with no explanation. This is funding to investigate and prosecute drug trafficking, to support foster care kids who experienced abuse or neglect, to expand access to forensic exams to prosecute violent crimes like sexual assault. These really senseless cancellations have already forced public safety organizations to cut employees and services. So I want to ask you, when you cut off the community-based violence intervention and prevention initiative funding, were you aware it is used to prevent and reduce violent crime?
Yeah, Senator, you weren't here for that, so I'm going to have to repeat myself. We have cut grants. I think we've cut 6%. But if we have cut a grant that you feel should not be cut, please reach out to me. I will personally look at it. We've turned multiple grants back on. Okay. We have an appeal process. But if you want to come to me directly, I would be happy to sit down with you and look at that and help you.
I'm happy. I appreciate
Again, we're doing everything we can.
Okay, but let me just ask you, when you cut off the expanding access to sexual assault forensic examination grant, were you aware that that grant helps our authorities prosecute rape and sexual assault?
I have no idea about that specific grant you're talking about. That's why I said, if you want to come sit down with me, I would never cut a grant
I appreciate that.
intentionally
It's
that
very
has
hard
anything
for those
to do.
recipients on the other end across the country.
Can you
to
give me
get a
the
phone
details
into
of
you.
that grant?
I can absolutely do that, and my staff will get that to you, but those are two critical ones that I just wanted to ask you about today.
Again, we've turned many grants back on and will continue to. If you want to call me and we can discuss them with you.
Okay, in your budget request, you propose consolidating the Office on Violence Against Women into the Office of Justice Programs. In 2002, Congress actually codified the office as a permanent, separate, and independent office to implement the Violence Against Women Act. We did that to make sure that violent crimes against women receive the necessary attention, expertise, and resources, and to give the office a strong, independent voice within the Justice Department and federal government. Now your department wants to fade that into the OJP, which violates the intent of the law that we passed. It makes grant programs less effective, and it places a lot more barriers for victims and services they need. And I see that you're cutting the office's resources by about a third. So will you commit to us, the Appropriations Committee, to follow the law and maintain OVW as a separate grant entity?
I will follow the law, but I will not keep that as a separate grant entity. You and I can disagree all day long on what the law is.
Well,
that's being consolidated into the Office of Justice Programs.
So
I'm not going to cut, let me answer, I'm not going to cut anything that's going to hurt violence against
Not
women.
my question.
It will
I'm
eliminate
asking, just for your information, Attorney General, in 2002, we codified the office as a permanent, separate, and independent office. So that you need to go back and take a look at that. I know my time is out, but I thank you very much for the time.
Senator Patty Murray didn't hold back in a heated exchange with Attorney General Bondi during a high-stakes Senate hearing. From the outset, Murray laid down a direct accusation that the Department of Justice, once an independent institution dedicated to upholding the rule of law, is now simply following the political will of President Trump. Murray's words were sharp, calling it as she saw it. Law enforcement is being replaced by corruption and chaos. The accusation was not only an indictment of the department's current state, but also a broader warning about the erosion of justice under the Trump administration. The tension reached new heights as Senator Murray turned her focus to a whistleblower complaint that had surfaced within the DOJ. The complaint accused top officials, including Trump's nominee Emil Boviv, of knowingly disregarding court orders and retaliating against a dedicated career attorney who had done the right thing by exposing these violations. Murray pressed Bondi directly, asking if she would permit such conduct within the DOJ. Bondi's response, however, was less than satisfactory. Instead of condemning the alleged actions, she deflected and offered full-throated praise for the very officials accused of misconduct. This move raised serious concerns about the leadership at the Department of Justice and its commitment to integrity and accountability. But the bombshells didn't stop there. Senator Murray then unveiled the chilling details of the DOJ's decision to cancel over 300 public safety and victim assistance programs. These included critical initiatives such as forensic support for rape and sexual assault cases, services for abused foster children, and community-based violence prevention funding. These programs were lifelines for countless vulnerable individuals, and their cancellation represented a significant blow to public safety and the well-being of society's most at-risk populations. Bondi's response to this revelation was astonishingly dismissive. She claimed she didn't know the details of these essential programs. This response left many questioning whether Bondi was truly unaware of the consequences of these cuts, or whether it was a convenient attempt to avoid accountability. Murray didn't let up, shifting focus to the DOJ's controversial plan to dismantle the Office on Violence Against Women, OVW, a key office created by law in 2002 to ensure the government's commitment to combating violence against women. The plan to absorb this office into another department not only violated the law but also went against the bipartisan intent that had preserved the office's independence for nearly 2 decades. Bondi's defense was equally troubling, as she insisted that the office would be absorbed into another department, disregarding both the legal framework and the established intent to keep the OVW separate and autonomous. This exchange was more than just a policy debate, it was a wake-up call. Senator Murray made it abundantly clear that the stakes were far higher than political maneuvering or administrative reshuffling. Lives were at risk. Victims of violence, especially women in desperate need of support, were the ones who would suffer the most from these policy changes. The very institutions meant to protect them were being undermined by political expediency. Moreover, the Department of Justice, once considered the cornerstone of law and fairness, was now dangerously drifting towards political obedience, raising grave concerns about its future integrity and impartiality. Murray's exchange with Bondi painted a picture of a DOJ in crisis, where the pursuit of justice is being overshadowed by political agendas and blatant disregard for laws designed to protect the most vulnerable in society. What's your take on this crucial moment? Was it merely a matter of oversight, or does it signal something much more dangerous happening within the government? Drop your thoughts below, and make sure to subscribe for more in-depth coverage of Senate and House hearings. Stay informed, and don't miss out on the latest from the halls of power.